Hey, 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 guys! Happy, I'm going to say Monday. And welcome. Welcome, Leah Lockett.
Thank you.
Welcome to the
Thanks for having me.
skies. And hi to you, friends. Hi, friends. Welcome back. How are we on episode 5 already?
Mental.
This is mental, and today we are coming high from the sky. In fact, a mile high. We're not alone. We have friends.
We do.
We have a plane full of friends here today.
And you'll notice that this is not our usual set.
We're flying high.
We are. We're actually on a Legacy 600 private jet today.
Very fancy.
Very on brand for us.
Very on brand, very bougie, very fancy.
And that's because we've got a sponsorship with our favourite people ever at Mirai Flights.
Now, if you've been living under a rock, you'll not know who they are. If you've been following us on Instagram,
You'll know.
You'll know.
We've flown with them before. We love them.
A lot. Anytime you see us in a private jet, we're flying with Mirai.
Including now. But we're not going to talk about them too much today because we've actually got the wonderful Vlada from Mirai on as a guest next week.
I can actually see her in the cockpit right now, and I see a Louboutin. All I see is a little red heel.
She's very glam. You're going to love her.
She's fabulous.
She is.
I'm like, girl power over there.
Yeah. And we're excited.
She's not flying the plane, by the way.
She could if she wanted to. She looks like she knows exactly what she's doing.
She was like, I can't, I actually can't. Guys, I bought this all in one, and I've got to show you.
Literally.
I-
What is that?
I bought an all in one. It got the ick. I bought this amazing cat suit from Revolve. It's very Balenciaga, but I look like I'm dressing up for a child's fancy
Those of you that are
dress
listening
outfit.
and can't see, Rachel looks like
Zippity.
a cloud. She's got an all-in-one on. It's in some like weird tartan mix. If you've not watched this on YouTube, go and look because I've got no idea.
And
what's
it comes
happening.
underneath my foot.
And yeah, they've built in
I don't know if I like it.
like baby grow feet
You've got a
for a
face.
full adult, which is wonderful. We have gone well off piece on this intro.
Right,
Welcome
let's
to the pod.
back to the pod.
What are we talking about today?
Oh, dating.
Oh, fuck
There's
yeah.
problems. There's problems in the sky.
There's so many problems.
There's
in
problems
this
this high.
There is.
Leah, I feel like actually something that we're going to talk about today is dating and high net worth women and how hard it is to.
This is going to be a good one because you're married with 4 kids and
I am.
I'm as single as they go.
Oh,
By choice.
by choice.
By choice.
But it's a thing. I think it's a thing in network marketing. I think it's a thing in not just in network marketing. I think it's a thing in life. Powerful women. Do we need powerful men?
We get told as powerful women that we're too much. My favourite classic is this one. You're intimidating. And I'm like, am I
You are
intimidating?
kind of scary.
Or are you intimidated? There's a difference.
So,
Am I scary?
a
little bit.
We speak about this in the next podcast, actually. No,
It's my
you've gone all soft and mushy. Leah Lockett has lost the ice. She's soft and mushy.
But in business, and I think definitely in my relationships, I'm not emotional, I'm not warm, I don't have fuzzy feelings. And therefore that can probably be perceived as intimidating. But it's just because I've not met anybody that makes me feel like that.
You've been saying to me recently, you've been getting the ick a little
I get the ick
bit.
so often off people that I'm not even speaking to as well. Like I'll see something online and I'm like,
ick.
Yeah, ick. Or I can be walking past and it's just something that doesn't sit right with me. And I see it in business as well, actually. I get business icks and male icks. But I think one of the things that I've realised lately when dating or even attempting to date is that the divide between where I am and where a lot of the men that I've dated are is astronomical. And I hadn't honestly thought about it until it came up recently in a situation which made me have to think about it. And I thought, has me doing as well as I have done now segregated the dating pool down to 0.00001% of people that are on the same tax brackets, whatever, as I am, because the disparity between plans was so big, travel plans were so big, that it caused an issue where I was like, am I supposed to pay for the flights or should I upgrade? And I was like, I have not navigated this water before.
It's hard. And I think it goes back to that thing that the guys think they want a successful woman. It looks great. They want the trophy. They want the millionaire. They want the this. They want the that. And then when they get it, do they feel
inferior?
Do they? Yeah. Is it demasculating?
Is
that the word? Demasculating.
Or emasculating.
Emasculating.
This was my concern, and this is my concern. I actually don't know how to navigate this. It's something that I've just been made aware of.
Let's ask guys, have you had this problem? I want to hear from the successful women out there.
I'll tell you this. So I read a lot of stuff and watch a lot of things on TikTok for educational purposes. I know TikTok doesn't sound like
you use TikTok as educational services.
It's so what's the word? It's so thorough with its algorithm that it shows you what you're interested in. Not like Instagram. On TikTok, if I get into a certain topic, and it can be about, I don't know, private jets, aviation, it could be about a specific hotel chain, it could be about something completely off piece, like masculine and feminine energy, which was something that I was reading. And so some of the TikToks that I'd seen on there were they're talking about people like me, so let's put myself in a bracket, 35, child-free, single by choice, but I'm doing really well for myself in business and enjoying my life on my terms. Also child-free by choice. I don't know if I want kids, but in the comments section of this really niche algorithm that TikTok created for me, when I'd started to read into things.
TikTok.
Thank you, TikTok. There were so many angry men in the comments of women's videos, and I was like, what the fuck
triggering.
What
is it triggering?
Off. They were like, nobody wants a boss babe. Nobody wants... And I was thinking, nobody wants a guy whose hairline looks like it's trying to get away from him. Get out of the comments section, please. But those types of things are prevalent, and I do genuinely wonder, is that what men are thinking?
I think they are. I genuinely think it is like that, because we're brought up in a society where a lot of these guys will want to be the breadwinners, and they'll want to look after their family, and they want to be the man.
But what if they're not earning enough money to
then,
do that?
Then you've got the ick, haven't you, baby? Because we've got the ick. Oh, Leah's messages to me for the past 4 weeks have been, I've got the ick.
I'm in a permanent state of ick.
There's like an ick.
Everything.
We sat in Vegas and we did the swiping, didn't we? We swiped in Vegas. We sat in bed, me and you sat in bed in Vegas, swiping on the apps, and it was icky. Icky. He does this. Ick. He does that.
Do you know what?
Leah, we're never going to find you a man because everything is icky.
So I downloaded, I think it was Hinge for like 1 second.
I don't understand the difference.
I don't know.
Is one a knocking shop? One is like
one's like one's like.
One's a come in my private jet. One's a come to the Holiday Inn.
One of them's dash and grab. One of them's like, do you want to come to Paris for the weekend? And I was on it.
Yet we're here alone.
Or are we?
Are we?
I was on it for all of 10 minutes, and the things that I was reading in the sections of, so listen to this, there's men on there that are pushing 45, that hairline has escaped them, and there's a box in here, right, and it says, what are you looking for? So you can put long-term relationship, life partner, like marriage, and most of the men on these apps have got short-term, open to long.
Oh.
And it's like, so what you're saying is you just
want a shag.
And that's the dating pool.
And what is your bio?
Mate, I didn't stay on long enough to write one.
But let's write you a bio. Right, we're going to find you a man. Let's write you a bio.
He's not on a dating app. He's on a yacht in St. Bart's or something.
Did we not leave one recently on a yacht in Monaco?
We did.
Another day, Leah didn't make it to Vegas because she got lost on a ship in Monaco. Babe, I'm at the airport. Where are you? I'm in Monaco.
I
Why are
got
you
bumped off my flight, so I decided to stay on a
Why
boat.
are you in Monaco? I'm on a boat.
I was on a boat.
A dinghy?
No,
No, it's a big boat. I want a big boat. I was like,
4 stories.
I'm like, I'll leave you there.
I went to a beach. Did you come with us?
No.
Did you not come? I went to a beach.
No, I
club.
was on my way to Vegas. You were on your way to freaking.
You didn't even get there, did you? You got bumped off your flight.
I went to the wrong terminal.
I'm sorry, what?
I went to the wrong terminal.
Excuse me?
I went to the wrong terminal. I went to Terminal 5 because in my head, BA flies from Terminal 5.
Oh my God.
And then I got to the front and I'm like, here's my passport. And they went, you at the wrong terminal. But I only had 2.5 minutes to get from Terminal 5 to Terminal 3 before the flight closed. And I just didn't make it.
So you didn't.
And half
get
of me
there.
wishes that I'd found that yacht in Monaco with you.
It was fun.
But where did that? Okay, so that you don't find them on a dating app. Where do you
Do you know what
find
my
these
problem
men?
is? I just need to go outside, and I don't go outside often. But when I go outside, there are men there, and
No.
there are so many.
Not in the Claire.
Not there, unless I'm like running past the wind. But I mean, you know what I'm like with socializing and networking. So if I go outside, I will speak to somebody, but I will tend to not do anything when I'm at home for prolonged periods of time. So when I'm traveling, then great. When I'm not, I'm on Zoom for 24 hours a day, maybe 25, 26, as are you.
Yes.
And so it's difficult without apps, but I just categorically will never.
Do you think, though, a man can change? And hear me out here. Because you're getting the ick at the beginning.
I get the ick all the time.
Right. Because the guy, but I don't think it's you. I think the guys are giving you the ick because they're feeling intimidated and they're letting you know they're intimidated and they're a bit like, oh.
And then I feel pushed.
And then
into
you
my
feel pushed. And then,
masculine.
but I'm going to flip this because I have a team of women who are earning a lot now. And we have a little bit of a joke and we're all married. And we have the joke that we're going to retire our husbands. And every single one of our husbands is up for this retirement
I'm sure
gig.
they are, but this is where the problem
But they're
is.
also pushing us
They're
to be
your husband
better.
already.
But
So
at the
it's not
beginning,
icky.
but did we go through the icky bit? But we've forgotten that was an icky bit.
No, because you and Shaq, like I listen to you and Shaq on the phone, and I see your text messages, and I watch your stories, and I'm like, that exists, and therefore.
Oh no, darling! This morning I
know
slammed
you
the door
want
in his
to kill
face.
him.
I wanted to freaking kill him, and I was like, I am leaving. I packed my bag. I am not coming back. Sort the kids out. And then he texts me. Are you there yet? I was like, I'm in my private jet. Yes, darling. Be very careful what you say. There's a dishy pilot awaiting me in Paddy.
You're gonna hear all about it.
But they change? Is it just an initial hurdle that you've got to get over?
My concern is this. So when you met Shaq, you weren't the breadwinner or even in a position to be the breadwinner. Is that right? So
well,
this
no.
is where the confusion
I was
comes in.
making a lot of money when I met Shaq.
Were you?
Yeah, a lot of money. And I went through an icky bit. I was earning like I'd made $1 million when I met Shaq. I lost it just as I met him, but in my head I still had it.
Yeah.
So I was acting like I had it. I had spent it all. And I spoke about this on Eric's podcast for those of you that haven't listened. But I spoke about this on Eric's podcast and I lost everything. I was just foolish and I had no wealth management. And then I found Shaq, who was obviously doing very well. But in my head, I was at the same level.
He was his equal.
I was his equal. I never was that trophy wife. I never was that person because in my head I was still a millionaire.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but I was, and I always acted like delusionally like I was one. So there was never that power
always
struggle.
coming back.
There was never that power struggle because I was always saying that I was at his level, and now I'm kind of like, dare I say, threatening his masculinity, I guess. But he's going with it. He's like, retire me. Let me be a house husband. I don't want to go to
Do you
work
not
no
think
more.
he'd be
I want
bored?
to. Yes, he'd be bored shitless, which is why I signed him up to another network marketing company because he would drive me around the bend and we'd be divorced within about 2.5 seconds. I've told him this. I cannot have you at home. It's icky.
Yeah.
Can't have you at home. I love that we're going to retire you. I love that, but you are going to Is he going to become that ick? Am I going to get the ick?
Am
I going to get the ick if he becomes a stay-at-home dad?
I think that there's a big possibility that you would get the ick because suddenly the male and female dynamic is
I don't want to be the breadwinner. I genuinely don't. I love being an independent woman. I love being powerful. I love leading a team. I love being, up there on the scoreboards. I love earning what I want to earn, but I want to go home and I want to be treated like a princess. And I want him to go, do you know what? Don't pay for that.
Yeah.
You don't need to. Although right now it's just like, can you just wait, she couldn't just transfer 25 grand, could you? I've just got, every day it's like, wait, she couldn't just. I'm like, you give me the ick. You're going to give me the ick.
So do you think successful women should only date men that are on par or above where they are? Because why I'm asking this is I was not always in the position that I'm in now. So going back 5 years when I started this business, I dated someone and I was in a 50-50 everything. Everything was 50-50. The holidays, the food, the houses, all of it, 50-50. We both earned about the same amount of money. And I started this business. And I still read the text messages to put coals on my fire from that relationship. Because when I started, he used to say, why are you always trying to make more money? Yeah. You're doing well as it is. And there's a specific message, which I read often, which says, Jets, that will never be anything. I did, but I always knew that it would. That when we joke about this in my team, my company, one of my companies is the Jet Set Lifestyle Group being the operative word. There was one person when I started. I was the CEO, the accountant, the social media manager, the business development, everything for that company. But I called it the group because I knew eventually it would be.
It would be a group.
It would be massive. And it would do all of these things. And I remember somebody else telling me at the time that it would never be nothing, and neither would I. And I was like, we'll see about that. But at the time, when I started to elevate even then, and I hadn't achieved anything then, I was just on the path to trying. And I'd had clothing brand and whatever else before that. I was always doing something on the side. But when I started that, even when we were equal, I started to try to be not better than anybody, but elevate myself, everything. It caused a problem.
But look at this with turn your dating into the friendship circles you're in. How many friends have you lost along the way?
Oh my God.
How has your friend circle changed? Would you go out there now and become friends with somebody who isn't motivated and isn't powerful? No, you wouldn't spend your time with them. You spend time with people who elevate you. So why are you okaying dating people who don't?
So I've not dated
You're not okaying people, but do you know what I mean? So, but going back to your question, yes, strong, independent women that make a lot of money, need to have an equal.
But you could. So hear me out. This is where I'm confused, right? So we can have an equal in terms of intellect, in terms of emotional connection, in terms of spiritual connection, but then it's so difficult to tie that in to an equal in the financial connection. So I've only ever dated people that have ticked, but not been able to tick that. And not a lot of people can. And when you look at it, so the average, I think the top 1.5% of income earners in the UK are, I think, within a 150k bracket. So if you earn up to...
That's the top?
1.5%, I think, yeah. I'd have to double check the maths. But I was looking.
I believe you. You're a stats girl. I would never question your stats.
I think it's between 80 to 100.
The fact that you questioned your stats made me question your stats, but I would never question your stats.
In fact, I should have said that with more conviction.
You should have been more convinced. Yeah.
1.5%. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. So that's the higher bracket for people that are earning, and then there's this whole other bracket where it starts to get into you're earning that in a month.
I just don't think you can be with somebody who earns what you earn in a month, in a year.
It makes life difficult because you're singing off two different hymn sheets.
Completely. It's hard. It is hard, guys. Right? I want to know your date. I want to know your dating dilemmas. I want to know people that have done really well, and especially network marketing.
Yeah, or like, here's one then. Sometimes people start a business and the business takes off. So has anybody seen like disparity in setting something up as a female and it then causing a problem as a male? Because I'm just interested in the dynamics and what everybody's views are on
I would
it.
love to have people on the show to discuss. There must be a
loads of
dating
people.
expert.
Oh my god, they'll rip me to shreds.
I need a dating expert to come and sit with us and work out what is going on in Leah Lockett's world.
Let's do it.
Because I think you're a right old catch.
Oh my god, I know I am.
I
I'm
think you're a
so
proper. I would.
fussy.
I would.
Many would.
I would. Many would.
But do you know what it is, mate? I get the ick. I get the ick so quick, and nobody can.
Do you think you need to just chill and give these poor, humble men a chance?
I do, and then I get the ick. I
Leo.
get the ick so quick.
Okay, so what's your perfect type?
Are we talking about looks?
The package.
Tall, dark, and handsome. If I was going for looks, but then they need to have depth. Be intelligent. Get my dry sense of humour, but I also want them to be able to treat me financially so that I can treat them and it's not like a weird thing.
You're gonna have
I
to
basically have
compromise.
just asked for.
Does he even exist?
I don't know, but this
Does
is
he
the
exist?
thing.
I feel like when it comes to dating, you've got to compromise.
Do you?
Something's got to give.
What though?
For you, money can't give. Okay, so you're not okay with the money giving.
Maybe I am. Maybe I just need to work out if that's something that I can compromise on moving forward. For the
So,
right
guys, if
person.
you're watching this and you'd like to date Leah, please send your phone numbers in, and we will.
Rachel can vet them.
The Love Doctor. Do you know?
I'm not coming to whichever episode this is. So
Kid
send
you
the
not,
number in.
years
I won't be there.
years ago, I had a YouTube channel, Love 101 it was called, and I was a love doctor.
Can I find this?
You can.
Okay.
It's on YouTube.
That's my revenge. for
I
just
was a
talking
love
about my
doctor,
love
and I was
life.
giving love advice.
Why?
said
How? Where? When? Why
I gave people love advice.
And they trusted you with that.
Yes.
Mental.
Listen, I'm a lot. When I have a relationship, I stick with it.
You do.
I
You
stick
do.
with it,
You're doing
but
quite well.
you have to compromise. That is it, Lee. You
What
have
was
to
your
compromise.
compromise with Shaq then?
Oh, he's got OCD. It's well annoying.
I don't know, but we're well annoying.
But he's more annoying. That was a big compromise. He's too tight. He's too like everything is literally like has to be as it has to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything has to be as it has to be, and that was annoying. I was like, there was icky things in my relationship that I was like, do you know what? But money isn't one that I would have compromised on.
It makes it difficult, doesn't it? Because it does completely shift the dynamic. But isn't it interesting that men that do successful are deemed as like providers, and then women that become successful are deemed as intimidating or...
Do you think women, there's a lot of
Too
women
much
out
or
there who
something?
lower their, I'm going to say their light
Yeah.
to fit
I think
around
there's
a
lot.
man?
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
I think that there's a lot of women doing that, especially...
They dim their light to let their men shine.
Yeah.
See, that's what you're not prepared to do.
But I can't do that because of the way that we work and what we do. It's about teaching people to be authentic and to step into their power. And then I think a lot of women come into network marketing actually and find a strength that they didn't have before. And it's because of things like the stories that they hear of other women, me included, that stepped out of something that wasn't serving, you know, a job, a relationship, or everything, and stepped into something that was. And so it gets really hard to tone that down because it's you, it's become you, and it is you.
But we do have a lot of problems, don't we, in our business with husbands? There's a lot of problems. I had somebody that, my husband doesn't think I should, my husband doesn't like it. I was like, well, that's okay. I didn't ask him if he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, I must ask my other half. I'm like, do you think Elon Musk asked his wife whether he could start like whatever he
Tesla.
started? Do you think he doubled? Do
he
you think
didn't.
Richard Branson said, "I'll just go and check with my wife
Bill Gates
before"?
was bringing Melinda. Like, what do you think of Windows?
Melinda, darling,
Yeah.
I've got an idea. Are we going with it? No, she says no. She says
Yeah.
no. I say this to all my girls. I'm like, do you think all these powerful men go home and ask their wives whether they could start a business? No, they don't. They just start it and they get on with it. Then why are we sitting here as women checking with our husbands whether we can be awesome or not?
Yeah. And I think, you know, you can probably speak about this, well, definitely can, much more than I can, but the number one thing that I hear from mums in my team is they've had a child, they've stayed home from work to just be a mum. And in the process of doing that, they've come from maybe a high-flying corporate job, or maybe they've not,
Yeah.
maybe it was something completely different, but the same thing reigns true with every one of them, which is they felt like they'd lost themselves.
They've dimmed.
Yeah.
You dim. Yeah, you know, I had that. You know, obviously I've got 4 children. Each one of my children, you lose a little. You gain so much, but you also lose a lot. So my whole business, when you were saying about the group, my whole business is bringing those women back into their light again.
Yeah.
And sometimes the husbands don't like it. There's a lot of resistance. A lot of resistance when women start to get powerful. There's a lot of, oh, who do you think you are? And a lot of like, calm down, missus. And, you know, a lot of that, remember that you're a mum and mums don't do that. That is one of the biggest, you know, the biggest battles that we have is actually the people that should be supporting you the most.
Yeah.
So I understand what it's like. You know, if you haven't got that, you don't want to go through that. These women put up with it. You shouldn't have to. We're going to find you a man, though.
Yeah. A real one.
A real one.
That isn't intimidated.
Anybody out there?
Hello. Like I'm desperate.
Is that like a mating call for the hello? The like tumbleweed.
I don't feel like any man that I would marry is listening to this podcast.
I know where we're going to find you one. We're going to talk about it next week. We're going to
On-
get you a seat on a jet
Oh my god.
to New
it's like a
York,
high-class-
and we're going to sit you next to your future husband. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to
Sounds
get on
like
the
a
app.
Terrible idea.
That's a great idea.
Is it? What if I don't fancy him?
You know Lorna Lux?
Yeah.
Yeah. She met her husband on a flight.
Really?
Yeah. I hope this is the right story. She was cabin
Sounds
crew.
convincing.
She was
Go with
cabin
it.
crew, and she met her husband. He was sitting on a flight.
This is the thing about
There a lot
apps.
goes on a mile high.
Well, I mean, don't we know it?
A lot
We
goes
covered
on a
some
mile
of-
high.
We covered some a couple of
Maybe
weeks
you're
ago.
looking. Maybe you're too low. Maybe you just need to get up a bit.
Do you know what it is? When you've just told me that story, so I think when you meet somebody that you're supposed to be with, it will always be in like a serendipitous
Divine
Yeah.
timing.
I mean, it's not on an app. I don't need to swipe. That's why I'm so chilled.
You
I
need
don't
to
need
go
to look anywhere
up
for
a
it.
mile.
I need to go just wherever he is.
You're too low. You're too low.
me for
We need
30,000
to elevate. Ta-da!
I don't think I can elevate anymore if I try.
We're about as high as we can get.
But he's out there.
He's out there, baby.
And I am not in a rush to find him.
And we are not going to lower standards.
No. We might
Or
lower the
drop
tone a bit on this
levels down.
podcast, But
The only place we're lowering is tone,
tone.
here. You will find him.
absolutely.
I'm sure they're all invested now.
Who?
Them. The
These.
others. The others. Who? Do you think this is just me and you having a chat?
Looking at.
She's like, who's listening in? Is anybody listening? The others are invested now, aren't you guys? Tell me you're invested. Yes.
People are going to start sending recommendations in, and I'm going to go, ick. Don't do it. I won't reply. So, next week, we have got the fabulous Vlada from Mirai.
Who is sitting right on the plane
sitting
with us
behind
right now.
But we're going to film next week's episode after this one, which I'm super excited about because I know it's going to be fabulous and fun.
And then we've got some more guests lined up over the next couple of weeks, which is super, super exciting. We're going on our
Which
travels. We're
Where are we
heading off
going?
to Miami soon. We've got Miami. We're going to Vegas.
We're going to do some good stuff in both.
We're going to pick up some guests on the way over there.
We've got 2
banging guests
my God.
in Miami.
big names.
Then we're
that
going to head to LA. We're possibly going to
do something big there.
big.
Leave that with me.
Big. She's working on that. Tick.
And obviously, we've got our episodes that we're going to cover loads of different topics on. But make sure, if you're not already, that you click follow so you don't miss next week's, because you are going to want to hear all about Mirai and the flight hacks that you didn't know you needed, but absolutely did. Thanks, guys. Bye.